What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been super long. It's been a little bit over a year, and all this coronavirus stuff has happened, man. It's just been crazy. Um, a lot has happened in the last year, but I'm gonna make a video explaining all that later. But right now, I've been thinking about making videos like this for a while, just promoting healthier ways of living, just motivation, inspiration, and stuff like this. So but we'll talk about a lot of stuff later. Just know I'm gonna be uploading this stuff again regularly. Hopefully, with a lot of free time I got right now, I'll be able to. So let's just get right into it. So healthy relationship habits, communication. So what is communication? So the communication is the imparting or exchange of information or news, means of sending or receiving information, such as telephone lines or computers. So communication is just a transfer of information from one thing to another. So what is communication in a relationship? In a relationship, communication allows you to explain to someone what you are experiencing and what your needs are. So now as we, continue through all these slides and stuff, you're going to see that everything literally just ties in with each other. And you kind of realize that once you kind of lack in one area, you might lack in two more areas because of just how they interconnect. So what is the purpose of communication? To build understanding between two partners. Um, just building that. Make sure that you guys are on the same page, basically. See the other person's perspective to truly comprehend their feelings. Just different upbringings, different experiences will shape and mold how you perceive things, and it works like that with feelings. So it's very important that you try and understand why they're feeling that way, and what it is exactly that they are feeling. Number three, to intertwine the bridge between expectation and reality. It's nothing worse than expecting something and getting the exact opposite of what it is that you really wanted. So it's important that, these things are clarified. And number four, help build a better connection between you and your partner. Just help build the intimacy, that love, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Best feeling to have is when you two have that connection. So how do we communicate effectively, right? So number one, and this is kind of not, this doesn't just work with when you guys are, come into a problem, but it also works when, uh, just with any other thing, just any small, minute problems. This is just what I believe is the best way to handle it, and everything like that. So, number one, discern the situation and approach your partner with respect and kindness. So, a lot of times you may get frustrated, irritated, stuff like that really, really quickly. And it's important that you try to not bring that at the start of the conversation. Um, like I don't like it when I'm gonna use myself for an example. A lot of the times, I don't like it when somebody texts me, "We need to talk." Like if it's not something, if it's not in the means of something bad, if it's something that can be simply fixed, then no, I don't really want to hear that for the most part. Because that's gonna make me anxious. What I'm saying, like nobody really wants to feel that. So if it's just something small, something that can just be talked about, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? Number two, don't try to win the battle. Remember, you guys is you two versus the world, not you versus your partner and the world. You guys are a team. That means you guys have to build together. So that means it's okay to be wrong. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Remember, it's trying to better yourself for you, your partner, and your relationship. Number three, reveal the things you want, need, and expect. Let this be known so we don't have any confusion. This is where things get a little heated because you could end up doing all of this extra stuff that didn't benefit the partner anyway and was actually counterproductive because they didn't tell you what they needed and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You didn't tell them what you need or want. Number four, express yourself without animosity or anger. Kind of goes back to the first one, but basically being able to talk calmly with respect, just being able, hey, so and so and so, blah blah blah. Express all of that without having to get all riled up. And if you can control your emotions, the better you will have at being able to talk to your partner. Number five, listen to your partner and put aside your feelings. When you have done something to affect your partner, it's not about you at that time. It's about why they feel that way. Why are they feeling that way? And if you at some point, if you have a disagreement, then let's talk it out. But there's no point in arguing. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a relationship, you are now being accountable for somebody's feelings. And regardless if you believe that or not, once you get into a relationship, somebody is letting themselves be vulnerable to you. If that's the kind of relationship you have, if you have this stereotypical relationship where you plan on building something and having a family and all this and that, you are going to be accountable for that person's emotions because you are now almost intertwining your two souls together. So every decision you make will affect them. Number 6, let them know that you're listening. Nothing worse than you're expressing yourself and you feel like your partner isn't listening. And that's one of the most disheartening things to do is just feel like the one person you care about the most doesn't even care about what's coming out of your mouth. So make that clear. So miscommunication? Miscommunication is the failure to communicate adequately. So what causes miscommunication? Lack of communication causes miscommunication. So just, being slightly off and just not even being able to do those other things can cause problems with communication itself. You know, Number 2, different expectations. Just and you like I said before, as you can see, all of these things literally just tie back in, like it's all connected. Different expectations. If you think this and they think that, and y'all not on the same page, is just at some point y'all gonna realize that all right, they're not doing this and they're not doing that and da 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 da, and now here's the fight. And because somebody didn't say what they needed, somebody didn't say what they expected. Number 3, ego. This ties back into the battle part. We don't want to lose. We don't want to lose the argument. We always want to be right. And because you always want to be right, you're going to end up driving away the person that was down for you the most. And you don't want to do that. It's okay to be wrong. See what you can do to better yourself, not just for yourself, but for your partner and for your relationship. Number 4, assuming that your partner understands you. This goes back to the perspective thing, and you'll see that number 5 is about perceiving information differently. It's all about different upbringings. Just different experiences are gonna let you perceive things differently. You could put two sentences in front of you could put the same sentence in front of two different people and get a completely different understanding. So it's important that you don't assume that the person you're with or your spouse already knows what's going on or just understands what it is that you need or anything. It's very important that you communicate that regardless of how simple you think it is. It's important that you let them know. And excuse me, sorry, I had to burp. Number 6, I'm willing to be susceptible to change. Um, and this kind of just goes back to what I was saying about ego, kind of. If you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to make sacrifices, and not even just sacrifices, this could even be a little bit less than that, but just being able to change and well, I would say compromise when it comes to certain things, then you're going to end up running your relationship into the ground for the most part. If you always wanted to be my way or the highway, then you might as well just be by yourself because you it's gonna be I'm pretty sure it's very, very rare to just run into somebody where y'all are just exactly the same. And if you do run into somebody like that, it's great. I pray for the best for you, man. Keep it up. But nobody's gonna run into the exact same person. So like that. So be willing to be susceptible to change. Understand that when they come to you about something, see how you can compromise or just better change what it is about you that can just help the situation itself to make things easier for both of you. How do we prevent communication? 8 things right here. Be clear in what it is you need or want. Simple. Ask questions and stop assuming. It's better to ask than assume because if you assume, you're going to create non-existent problems and now you have to deal with something that never even happened. Number 4, be aware of communication styles. Some people like to text, some people like to talk in person, some people like to call, but whatever one you choose, make sure it's effective for both of you and see what you can do to compromise in a situation. Number 5, be a good listener. Just like I said before, it's always important that you listen to the other side, understand, comprehend, ask questions because you want to get it to the point where you can clearly see what it is they're feeling and why they're feeling, and then you can make the necessary changes to keep that from happening again. Number six, think before you speak, just in case you don't want to say anything too aggressive. You don't want to say anything too, you know, not. You don't want to attack your partner. You want to. It's better to be passive. It's different than, like, an example. Your partner doesn't wash the dishes, right? And this might not be the best example, but it's the best. Just real quick. It's better to say, hey, I wash the dishes all the time. I really appreciate it if you wash the dishes too. I just, feel like I'm constantly doing it. Da 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 da. That right there is a little bit more passive. You know what I'm saying? Other than, you saying, you never wash the dishes, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit different. And the tone, just the word choice. Even if I would say you never wash the dishes, kind of clearly like that, you're still attacking the person. It's better to be passive. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to start pointing fingers and stuff like that, because that already puts your spouse on defense, and you don't want that. Number seven, check and see if your partner is satisfied with your actions. And that's just basically well, I'm gonna say I'm the opposite here. I like to let my partner know that I noticed their changes and that I'm appreciative of it. And you probably rather want to ask and say, hey, am I doing okay? Am I making the changes that I made effective, and are they to your liking? You know what I'm saying? And as your spouse, it's better if it's good for them to reach out and let you know that they see it and they're appreciative of it, because it's work. It's hard work. So make sure that that's clear on both sides. Focus on feelings and not being right. This just goes back to the battle thing. Focus on the feelings at the time. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you're accountable for another person's feelings. You're accountable for you know, for their heart right now. So focus on that. Don't worry about who's right, who's wrong. None of that. That doesn't matter. It's you two. When one of y'all is wrong, then both of y'all are wrong, because y'all can't come together and fix the problem. Extras and side notes. So be clear, and let's be. This is where people have to understand. People think that relationships are supposed to be easy, and they're not. Relationships require work. They require time. They require effort. You don't have to spend a lot of money and nothing like that, but it requires time and it requires patience. And if you don't have none of that, you might not be ready for a relationship. And this is just in my opinion. So understand that none of this stuff is licensed. I'm not no professional. None of that. So you take these, you know, um, take this advice at your own risk. All of this. So relationship is hard work, and you're gonna have to put the time in regardless. So if you don't have the time, if you're not patient, you might not be ready. And I've been on every side of this aspect. I've been a toxic person. I've been a victim of toxicity. I literally just haven't been through getting cheated on. And I'm lucky for that, and I hope that I never have to experience that kind of pain. But it's super important that you realize that it's gonna take time, and some people just don't have it like that. It took me time. I'm not the most perfect person, but I try to practice these things, in our own relationship. I try to let my partner know that, hey, we should practice these things. This is not good. It's not healthy that we may do things this way. You know what I'm saying? This is what you want to promote, and you may have to take initiative for that if you really want that relationship to work. And uh, sometimes you might just have to, if that person is not willing to make those changes, that person is not willing to do what they need to do to better the relationship, then I can see why you can leave. And we'll make another video on that, and when you should stop fighting, when it's time to leave. But for the most part, that's it. If you guys did like the video, leave a like, a favorite, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to make different videos on different content, just leave a little comment or whatever down below, and I'll do it. But for the most part, I'll see you guys later. Peace.